Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you 3 more cards made from the Time for Cake paper pumpkin kit. The last video I did, I had made some and these were the 2 that I'd made, but I'd cut a little window out of there, which is this piece, and at the time said save this for later. And then later on in the video, I think it's around minute 18:50, I said, look at this. There's at least another 2 or 3 cards left in this. And yesterday, as my brain was, look, can you see those lovely, oh, fabulous. My brain was whirring and I suddenly thought, oh, I know what I'm going to do to make those cards. So without further delay, I am going to get started. I did kind of here's one I made earlier, prep stuff. And here's the post-it notes. That's actually, I cut this. And in the first video, what I'll do is I will link that video in the description box below so you can give it a watch through. And then you'll see all the pertinent points that I made. But one of them, this is the card that used the original piece of this card. And this is the one that I had fashioned out of it. But I'd cut between 2 candles that were a little bit more upright. And what I did here was I tried to do the same, really to get the sparkles to stay, that there wasn't a candle without any. So that's one of the pieces, held together by trusty post-it note. And then here is the other one. So there's plenty sparkle on each candle. They're not all the same size. I really concentrated more on cutting between the straightness and getting enough candlelight at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the paper trimmer and I'm going to take the piece that we cut out of that window, and it's 3.5 by 8. It's 3.5 by 4 1/8. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut down 1.5 inches off here. So I'm going to line it up at 1.5 inches, and that is going to become the edges of 2. So half of 1.5 is 3/4. So I'm going to just slice that into 2 3/4 inch pieces, and that's going to be for 1 card. The next piece I'm going to turn the other way, and I'm going to cut it. So half of 3.5 is 1 3/4. So we'll line it up at 1 3/4. Again, it doesn't need to be exact because these pieces are actually going to tuck under. And then half of that, you can either eyeball it or measure it to be 7/8 of an inch, whichever you prefer. You just need pieces that you can tuck under these ones. So let me just line that up at 7/8 and cut it. And then actually these pieces end up being 2 3/4 inches each long. So I'm just going to trim these down, otherwise they'll stick out the side of the pieces too far. So now we've got ingredients to make edges on 3 cards. So what I did was I couldn't quite decide which color to use. So I thought, let me make 3 cards and let me just use different colors. So this is Petal Pink, 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4, and then we are going to fold it on the score line and give it a nice crisp edge. Then I took a piece of clay, the copper clay, which is one of the in colors. Again, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Score that. And then I took a piece of Moody Mauve, which is from the same in color family as the copper clay. And guess what size it is? Yep, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we've got 4 card bases that are primarily all the same. So I'm going to pop those off to one side and bring back in the pieces. And what we're going to do is we are going to tuck these under. So they look like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put adhesive, just regular old rolling adhesive, down the back side of each of these. Probably needs to go quite up to the edge. Let me bring in my silica mat so I don't overhang. and make my work surface sticky. And then what we'll do is we will line these up to just have an equal amount sticking out. And the best way I found to do that was on my grid paper, was to line the top of this one up, and then we know that's where the top of this one needs to be lined up too. And that is going to go on the front of each card. So let me just do that quickly again. Line the first one up so that we can eyeball it into the middle. Put it on the grid paper on the line, and then line the next one up, and that's going to make that card. And then last but not least, our trusty petal pink one. Line it up, line it onto the top of the grid paper. This one's actually a bit skinnier, so I think I'm going to give it a little bit more of the petal pink sticking out. Like I said, I used the straightness of the candles rather than any particular width, so that one can go on there. So they've all got the same feeling. The two dark cards, of course, are a little bit dark to write anything inside. So I am going to do the favorite trick of when we've cut envelopes open, we've got the plain white back. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just cut off where the pieces that they get stuck together. Actually straighten this up so it doesn't look so much like the curve of an envelope, and then just cut that last one down. So now we've got two pieces because you didn't need to watch me do it twice. So I'm just going to quickly put some adhesive on the back of these lovely white pieces that were just scraps anyway, and tuck them into the inside of the darker cards so you've got a lighter surface for writing on. The petal pink one, of course, is quite light enough. You could go ahead and use another envelope or even some, you know, proper basic white cardstock, but there you have it. So what we need to do now is go ahead and attach these all to their cards. Not a very complicated process. I'm going to go down the back of the behind layer, the piece of the cardstock that we cut, and along the bottom of the Night of Navy areas, and just stick them, but we're going to put them more towards the top. So they're all going to be the same but different, but it was really just to show you that you literally can get, oh, you can probably get 2 or 3 more cards out of this thing. So that's the 3 cards made, and then what they need is a greeting. So what I did was I took some basic white cardstock and I took petal pink and my blending brush, and I just blended it so it had a little bit of colour. And then I'm going to take the Make-A-Wish stamp, which comes in the kit, and the little Night of Navy ink spot. I usually use my big pads when I do projects, but in the last video I also used the Night of Navy, and this is the one that comes in the kit. So I just want to show you how effective and quick and easy it is, regardless of the size of the ink that you use. But I'm going to stamp this over to the right hand side. Oops, so there's one. Oops, goodness. There's 2. And last but not least, there's the 3rd one. And the reason I've stamped them over to the right hand side is I'm going to bring in this lovely rose gold cord that came in the kit, which matches the sparkles of the candles. And then what I want to do is put on the back of the left hand side a little strip of adhesive, and then what I'm going to do is just wrap this around. So I'm going to stick it to the adhesive, just go round twice and stick it back down to the adhesive. I'm going to attach you those dimensionals, which will help. Whoops, good job. Just go back and put the second piece on. Oh my goodness, it is bouncing off. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually then going to use a little piece of tear and tape, because I think that would be a lot firmer to hold these on. So let me just stick a little piece on each one to encourage it nicely. You will stick. Oops. So the tear and tape is a really nice strong adhesive. It doesn't need to be that long actually. So I'm just going to put about 1/2 inch on each side. Peel the backing paper off, and now hopefully this will for sure stay stuck because it's on the tear and tape. You know, there's some days you just feel you're making a liar out of yourself. So we'll press that down really firmly. So firmly that it's sticking to me, so I'm pretty sure it's going to stay stuck. So peel the back off. And again, find the end. Stick it down. Go around twice. And make sure it is stuck down. There's a little bit of sticky on there, and then last but not least, stick this down. So there we have three the same, and then like I said, I'm going to attach these with dimensionals. So what I'll do is I will put one over there so that for sure helps it stay stuck. And let me just assure you, it is sticking to me, so I'm pretty sure it's going to remain sticky enough. So dimensional, one on each side. So peel the backing papers off. Oh, and just so you know, this is 2 1/4 by 1 1/8. That is the size that I had measured it to be. Of course, you can use any scraps you've got as long as the piece stays in. So there you have it. 3 cards which are fundamentally the same, but quite different because of the colours that they are. I got 3 of them out of that last leftover piece of the card from the previous video, and the little rose gold cord ties in with the lovely sparkly candle glows. And that's it, my lovelies. Thank you so much. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing. Give me a thumbs up. All the directions and dimensions, as always, will be on my blog, so you can pop on over there, and I will do a little template for how we cut this down from the piece that was underneath. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.